Our next speaker lost her mother in a hospital setting, and she's here to tell us a story. Please welcome Fidelma Mansfield, please.
My name is Fidelma Mansfield, and today I'm here to tell you about my mother, Elizabeth Mansfield. She was a sister, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and an amazing friend to many. During the lockdown, she enjoyed her crochet and singing. She was amazed at all the likes and comments she had on the Facebook sing-song page. I was my mother's full-time carer. She cared for many during her own lifetime. My mother depended on me for her hearing aids and daily needs. My mother wasn't feeling well at the end of April, and at advice of her GP, she needed to go to hospital for tests. She did not want to go, and now I wish I could have helped her to stay at home. My mother was a proud, independent woman, and with our help, she walked to the ambulance. This would be the last time we saw my mother in person. For 24 hours, we did not know where our mother was in the hospital, with no visiting and no one answering phones. Finally, a doctor phoned and told me that my mother was distressed and crying in the emergency department, asking why was she there and to go home. I asked if I could visit her. The doctor said I could not visit, as visits are not allowed. My mother was able to contact family members on speed dial on her phone once charged. I was going out of my mind with worry. Was there enough staff to attend to her needs? If only one person was allowed in, not only would it take the pressure off staff, it would have brought a little humanity and dignity back to those who suffered alone. I was told that my mother was very frail and could pass away, followed by a call to say that my mother would be moved to a nursing home for respite. I strongly refused this, as COVID-19 was rampant in the nursing homes and families were locked out. The next call I received from a different doctor was to tell me that my mother was unresponsive. He could not wake her up. He said that he would make arrangements with staff as to what would happen next. I was so upset with all my heart, wanted to be with my mother. The guidelines allowed for compassionate visits at end of life, and this was denied. An hour later, my mother phoned me. Her voice was low, but she asked me what I was doing. I was shocked considering the call I had just had. We were now totally confused and even more concerned. When ringing the ward to ask how she was, we found that the staff who answered appeared not to have clear information on my mother's condition. They seemed not to know that she was as sick as I had been informed previously. Then I received a phone call from another doctor. He told me that my mother had improved and he was planning to get her home. I was so happy to hear this at long last. In hindsight, it was one contradiction after another, and nobody knew what the other was saying. On the 11th of May, it was my mother's birthday, and she was disappointed that she was not going home that day. But we knew that she was be coming home in 2 days' time. I was busy getting the house ready for her. I then got a call and was asked if I would take my mother home without a care package, as it could not be organised in time. I was just so happy that I was finally getting her home. I said yes, absolutely. I asked if I could please come in to see her for her birthday with a cake. I was told that she would try her best to get me in and just ask for her when I got to reception. I had only put the phone down, and within seconds, literally, it rang again. My joy was cut short. I was asked by this doctor if I was driving. I said no. I said no. She said, "I'm sorry to say, your mother passed away 20 minutes ago." I was numb with shock. When I asked to take my mother home less than a minute earlier, she had in fact already been dead for 20 minutes at least. I was assured that a doctor and 2 palliative care nurses were with my mother. I cannot understand. When they knew she was passing, that nobody rang me immediately. Staff and our family. The shocking lack of communication on the ward itself between colleagues is extremely concerning. I was told that I could now go in to see her. They would leave her in the ward she passed away on, or they could move her to a separate room. I was so upset. I was denied the right to see her when she needed me. I could not go to the ward as I was a risk. How was I less of a risk now that she was gone? I was too distraught to go to the hospital, so arrangements were made for her to go to the funeral home as soon as possible. My mother, like so other many others in hospitals, were let down and nursing homes, and it is only by a human rights-led inquiry that we will prevent this inhumanity happening again in the future. A dedicated phone line should have been in place for everyone whose family members were taken to hospital alone. No phones were being answered. I would like to ask Health Minister Stephen Donnelly, in memory of my mother Elizabeth Mansfield, to consider putting a better system in place for families contacting hospitals. I would like to thank all the people who have supported me and to you for listening to my story today. Thank you.